Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Realcomm Live. I got to tell you, each and every week, these episodes are just getting more and more fun, more and more exciting. A testament to the fact that real estate technology in general, just continues to move at a crazy, crazy good pace. So this week's topic is, believe it or not, an oldie but a goodie, and you'll see what I mean in a second. The topic is called HoloPortation, a word you may not be familiar with. Real estate meets the virtual world. Now, you remember we spoke about metaverse in relationship to the real estate world. This is actually a physical side of how the virtual world is going to meet a building. And I believe it probably will have some relationship with the metaverse once this stuff all gets figured out, right? And let me bring up a picture of a little history of our world. So what you're looking at here is on the left-hand side is a shot from the back of a ballroom in Dallas, Texas at Realcomm 2001. And you can see a long shot. And if you look over on the right-hand side, you can kind of see the same image as the one that's on the right picture. So what you're looking at is actually teleportation 21 years ago. We've been believing in all sorts of innovative technology for a long time. And I don't even know how we arranged it, but we found the only company in the US that was doing teleportation, because we thought even back then it would have a relationship with buildings. And if you look at the photo on the right, how realistic that person looks, that is an image being teleported three-dimensionally or kind of hacked three-dimensionally from London, England. And I was on, if you look at the picture on the left, I was on the left side, and the gentleman on the podium was on the right side. He looked more natural, more alive, more colorful than I did in person on the same stage. And then when we actually took a picture or a video of him and projected it on the screen, he looked in his room. I will tell you that everybody in that audience gasped when I said I wanted to introduce him. He showed up, and the rest is history. So that was 21 years ago. So that's where we were. So this week, we are very, very fortunate to have the CEO of PORTL, David Nussbaum, founder and CEO. And the stuff you're going to see is just going to blow your mind. It absolutely has a relationship to physical space. And I think after today, you're going to rethink what that lobby should look like, what that common area should look like, and certainly what that conference room should look like. So before we start, let's show a brief video of PORTL, and then we're going to bring David on and have an incredible conversation.
Thinking outside the box? Take a look inside this one. Stand out in a crowded marketplace with PORTL. You're not seeing double. He's being beamed into PORTL via live telepresence. Anyone can beam into the unit remotely from anywhere in the world, in real time. The built-in front-facing camera and stereo speakers allow for live audience interaction. From humans to animated characters, the possibilities are endless. And a touchscreen display allows users to interact with custom content. There's even a mini version that can be used in smaller spaces. As PORTL inventor David Nussbaum says, if you can't be there, beam there. This is PORTL.
All right, David, I got to tell you, I know that video doesn't even begin to explain what you guys do. And I really want to say hello to your friends behind you. You keep good company.
Oh, my mom and my dad, yeah. I bring them everywhere I go.
Well, I know how busy you are and the kind of people you're dealing with, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But thank you for taking the time. I think our audience is going to really enjoy this conversation. And I have some feeling that it's not going to be the last. So this 18 minutes is going to go so quick. So let's get to it. Give us a little history, your background. Where the heck did you come from, and how did you get to where you are today?
Okay. Well, we'll do a condensed version because we only have 18 minutes. I always wanted to be a broadcaster. I thought I was going to be the play-by-play announcer for the New York Mets when I was growing up. That didn't happen. I love radio. I love broadcast so much that I moved out to Los Angeles to make my mark in broadcasting. Didn't quite make that happen. Became a podcaster, and obviously I didn't stick around to see that through all the way to what the potential of podcasting has become. I did an episode every Saturday for 5 years. It was really great. Met my wife on episode 9. So I do believe in the power of broadcasting and podcasting. I came up with the idea for Portal when I was working as an executive at a hologram entertainment company. We were known for bringing back late legends to posthumously perform on sold out stages around the world. And I always thought, well, what if instead of bringing back the dead, what if we could focus on the living? So that's why I started Portal. It is the world's first single passenger HoloPortation machine technology company. And I could beam anybody from anywhere to anywhere in real time.
Wow. So for those folks who haven't had exposure to your technology, the two portals behind you are kind of telling the story. While you're talking, they're kind of getting the idea. Take us through the technology a little bit. What happens?
Sure. Yeah. Well, again, this is the future of broadcasting, right? So what I couldn't do in radio and podcasting and television, we are now broadcasting real people, fully volumetric, into wherever they need to be. This is a CGI lion. This is my friend Billy. He's a rock star, and he plays guitar inside of the portal. They're 7 feet tall, 4 feet wide, 2 feet deep, just a few hundred pounds. They can be, they're portable. You can put them anywhere. And it basically gives the person the near supernatural ability to beam into any location in real time. There are audience-facing, forward-facing interactive electronics like cameras and microphones and all kinds of stuff. So the person beaming in has full ability to see each person in each location. And they work in light. They work in daylight, which holograms of the past never were able to do. So we thought...
Earlier, you showed us the screen that you filmed. Can you turn your camera real quick and just show us that? Yeah, so that's basically a white green screen slash, and then a person walks onto that. And the minute they walk onto that screen, in essence, they end up coming right into the portal.
That's right. I can show you that as well. I could beam from wherever to wherever. We're currently using, I have just a roll of white paper set up and a 4K camera. But maybe the next time we talk, I'll beam in using my phone, because that is where the future is going. I think the new technology should always work with older technology, just like nobody would have ever bought a cell phone if they could only call somebody else on a cell phone. People had home phones.
So you're saying you're not even going to need sophisticated background lighting. You're going to do this right from your phone into the portal.
That's right.
That's a game changer.
It is. We can do it right now. We have an app that allows people to do it. And in the next couple of weeks, we're removing the background and just rotoscoping the person out of their environment. So you could just beam from your phone.
So, and I hate to put you on, is it possible to change the lion real quick? Would that be, do you have your iPad handy?
I do.
All right, there you go. Cool.
So you tell me. We can, I can play with any piece of content from NFTs.
Right.
Let's see what else I have.
You got some athletes in there, don't you?
I've got an athlete. Here's a wonderful boxer. I've got Marshawn Lynch, one of our investors.
I was going to say, I think you got a Ram and a Bengal, right?
That's right. This coming Super Bowl, 2 investors in our company are Von Bell on the Bengals and Sony Michel on the Rams. So either way, we're a winner here at Portal.
So why don't our world politicians who got safety concerns and travel concerns, if I'm one of the top leaders in the world, I'm sending these portals everywhere, and then I'm sitting in my house going to meetings, and I mean, why isn't this more widely used?
I mean, that's why I'm here. I'm here to talk to you about that today. We're still a fairly unknown company. We've only been around a couple of years. We've got a couple hundred portals out there right now, but we started with one. Now we're making some moves. We've gone through a couple rounds of investments. We've got some money in the bank. We're selling portals, and I think in the next couple of years, these devices are going to be in every conference room, every hotel lobby, every train and airport station. We have a mini device that's coming now. This is, I think, the game changer as well. So it's everything the big one is, just shrunk down into a little kind of mic TV.
So you could literally put one on your desk and have a mini me sitting there.
Yeah, a little one in every living room, a big one in every conference room, and you, as a broadcaster, can beam your fully volumetric, real-time 4K version of yourself into every home and into every office around the world.
So if you can bring up a person again in the one over your shoulder, because I want to talk.
Sure. I'll bring up this handsome guy right here. How's that?
There you go.
Wait a second. I know you. All right.
What people don't understand, and I remember it was probably 10, 15 years ago, I walked into CES the first time they had the big LED panels, and somebody had turned it from horizontal to portrait, and they had a woman in there, talking to us, right? And I looked at the guy who was with Chuck Branch. I said, "This is brilliant." He goes, "Well, what do you mean?" I go, "Well, it's brilliant because the screens are getting so good." But I said, what this particular booth person did was they presented this woman at scale. Her head was the right size, her shoulders were the right size, and that guy behind you, I mean, he's not a Zoom call. He's not just a head. He is literally scale, right? So we're seeing him. Once you get scale, the visual impact, I think, changes everything. So if you have this in a conference room and somebody walks in the front of the room, you're talking to them, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just scale. Scale is great, but what scale represents also is, I just left. Okay, but when you have a real person there with volume and shadows and reflections, it is a doppelganger of it is your complete replica. So you are having an emotional and physical connection with this person that, look, as much as we're connecting right now, if we were sitting face to face in actual like the same location, we would be having a different conversation.
So from the standpoint of interaction, can they see you as well as you can see them? I mean, how do they have context of who they're talking? Like if there's an audience or a conference room full of people, how do they get the feedback?
Right. Well, when you're doing one-to-many, you can't, obviously, I wouldn't be seeing every person in each location as a hologram. I would see them on a display monitor, much like we're doing here. So like when the future president or when a CEO or an inspirational speaker beams into lots of places, she or he is just going to have the ability to see the audiences on a monitor. But we can do you'll stand in front of your portal, I'll stand in front of mine, and we technically have the ability to beam into each other's right now.
Wow. And then from the standpoint, and I don't, if you don't feel comfortable talking about cost, that's fine. But at what point does this get to a price point where these are everywhere? I mean, are you there yet? What inning are you in, I guess?
I think so. What inning are we in? We're in the first inning. We are. What game? Okay. Well, we're in the first inning. This is still the beginning. I mean, I think that we are, we've done quite a lot, but I'm not going to pretend like we're Apple or Amazon. I think that we'll get there. The price points I think are super reasonable, and it's showing in the sales. We also rent them, and we can offer like long-term leases or financing models. So and for those of us who don't want to invest in a big one, that's what the small ones are for.
And I'm assuming that as well as the hardware, there's also a software component.
Yes, I mean that is really the brains of Portal. The hardware is fun to look at, and that's really what the device presents. But we have this a cloud-based content management platform that allows anybody to create any piece of content and distribute it into any portal in real time. You can automate it, and you could playlist it. You could even schedule it. But we have a telecom feature that allows us to beam from anywhere to anywhere through our own closed, encrypted, totally secure network. So that cool. When you're captured, you're beamed through our network, and each device in it has a set of decoders that will read the image in real time with almost no latency at all.
Watching the girl over your shoulder, instructors, yoga instructors, trainers. I mean, again, it's the scale. He or she's sitting in front of the class, 5'7", and looking like a real person. And I imagine,
yeah, it's hologram masterclass. It's hologram Peloton. It's holo jukeboxes. It's entertaining. It's educational. We've got portals in colleges and universities and medical centers. Now, educators are beaming in to train students how to treat and diagnose patients remotely. Right. Not like telehealth, but to the next level.
to the next level. So before we take a break, top 3 coolest clients. Tell us who the big names you're working with.
Okay. Well, I can maybe even show you. I've got, Diddy was the first one that we really.
Didn't he sing Happy Birthday, if I remember?
He did. Diddy sang Happy Birthday to his. He beamed in. And he sang Happy Birthday to his son.
That's
beamed from Miami to Los Angeles. We did the iHeart Music Festival just before that, where another music artist, Kane Brown, was in Nashville, couldn't be in Los Angeles due to COVID, but he's like, hey, I want to be on the iHeart Music Festival. So 2 other performers, Sway Lee and Khalid, sang opposite on, they kind of bookended him.
Really?
And they had a great time. IWC watch, Swiss watchmaker, they beamed their CEO, not as famous as this guy, but he was beamed out of his office in Schaffhausen into the watch convention called Watches and Wonders in Shanghai. And he's a CEO, and he took meetings in real time. I thought that was a really great use case. So
let's take a brief break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the uses of this in a building, in the lobby, in common spaces, inside conference rooms. So let's take a brief break, and we'll be right back.
Your company mitigates many types of risk, but there's one critical risk you can't avoid: the networks running your base building systems. Every day, vendors and engineers connect to your building system networks with little or no security, making them extremely vulnerable to cyber attacks. Hackers can shut down these systems and force ransom payments, or jump over to your corporate network and engage in password and identity theft. Each new solution you add only causes the security risk to grow exponentially. The Intelligent Riser eliminates risk by putting building systems on a secure network completely separate from the building's corporate network. Then, vendors, building engineering, and building management are given secure access to the systems they need, while keeping hackers out. And the network is monitored and maintained 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, to ensure all building systems are secure, up, and running. All future solutions can now be connected to the Intelligent Riser, saving cabling and implementation CapEx and OpEx. Intelligent Riser, the smart building platform.
All right, let's get David back quickly. We got so much more to talk about. All right. So yeah, actually, Ian, keep me small because I want to keep David big and show the stuff in the background. So David, let's talk about the real estate world, right? Big buildings. These are going to have to be in buildings, right? So the applications are endless. So let's start at the lobby. You walk through the front door, biggest building in New York, Chicago, LA, Shanghai, and you see all this great artwork. You see all this great marble. Maybe you'll see a fountain. I call that analog 20th century. Okay. You want to be a stunning 21st century building. You walk in and you see a portal with the concierge, right? I mean, the building concierge. What can I do for you today? Do you have any questions? I mean, usually those guys are standing behind a marble, directory and they're not very helpful. But you put one of these front and center in the lobby. Number one, it's informative. Number two, your concierge could be working out of their home because
that's right,
for whatever reason. And actually, we had a virtual Anna at Realcomm in 2004. She was the concierge for the Hyatt Hotel in Silicon Valley. She lived 50 miles away and went to work every day on a screen in the lobby. So nothing near the technology you've got here. Okay, so the lobby. Now we take the elevator and we go up. We got common areas when you get off, right? We've all been there. Would you put a portal on every floor, or is it every other floor? I mean, what kind of uses would you see happen if somebody's getting off an elevator? Is that concierge there as well?
Yeah, no doubt. Concierge at the front desk, it's super easy. Again, you can create a hologram call center so that as somebody walks in front of a portal, I have it set up for live right now. I can show you a live beaming, but I imagine walking in front of a portal. It recognizes that there's somebody there, and then somebody hundreds, even thousands of miles away materializes Captain Kirk style. How may I help you today? And you are communicating in real time.
So one person could be a concierge for multiple buildings.
Absolutely, yeah. I would suggest that is a potential future of how our
and
technology.
then if that person gets busy and there's a line waiting to talk to them, you could switch another portal to take care of. I mean, basically, you're going to have, like you said, portal call centers.
Right. Well, we're already starting to discuss this with in the hospitality world.
Yeah.
We've done a few events now. We beamed in Chris Gardner into a hospitality event where he was able to show off the technology in front of hundreds of hotel executives. I think there is a world where that exists.
Yeah, I mean, and especially when you start thinking at the enterprise level, multiple, hotels, buildings, office towers, retail. I mean, God, the retail applications for this. Put this in the front window of a retail outlet, and you change those little mannequins that get new clothes on them once a week by the staff, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
All right. Before we run out of time, let's talk about the conference room. Okay, corporate conference room. We've all been in a million of them. They started with, TVs way back when. Then we went, bigger screens. Then we went really big screens. Some of the more visionary companies have been putting LED walls in, which I think is spectacular, right? What role and where and how do you use a portal in a conference room?
We have a corner unit. We haven't really shown that to anybody yet because it's incredible and it deserves a really big announcement. I guess maybe I'm making it here. The corner unit takes up about half the amount of space as the kind of rectangular version, a much smaller footprint, and it's a corner unit because it slides into the corner of the conference room. It just remove the plant out of the corner and slide in a corner portal. That the person presenting is always facing the middle of the room, and it is a really great way to present. The other way to do it is to take a portal and put it landscape mode, where you can then do chest up. And so I'm sitting across from the 2 or 3 or even 4 people who may fit inside of a landscape version of the portal, and it's hologram Zoom.
Wow. Well, and those 4 people, could they be in 4 different locations?
Sure. Absolutely.
And then you can just blend the feeds.
Blend the feeds.
Yeah. That's brilliant. I think I showed you what we did at our conference. We kind of hacked it. We didn't do this by any stretch, but we brought some people at scale in front of green screens onto our general session stage. And when they were sitting next to the people on the stage, we did a pretty good job of getting them scaled, and it looked pretty cool for no budget and no time. So I just absolutely love what you guys are doing. All right. So when do we see this everywhere? What's your gut? How fast does this take?
Everywhere. Tomorrow. When do we see this everywhere? 10 years, maybe.
Really?
If it's not Portal, it'll be something, because I think it really truly deserves a place in the future as the evolution of communication. Will it be in this form factor? Maybe, maybe not. We're continuously evolving the technology, both on the hardware side and the software and production and technology side. I'd say in the next 3 years, there'll be thousands of these out there. Yeah. At least that's what we've told our investors. And I'm going to make sure to stand by every one of my promises.
Yeah, I think once, all it's going to take is, sometimes people have trouble seeing the future. You talk about it, you show them a PowerPoint deck, but when they see it, even the most stubborn people will start shaking their heads. And once you start seeing it in one place and the competitors get the sense of it, then I think that's where you get the fuel you need to take us to the next iteration. So let's end on this. What is the future? What does the portal look like 3 years from now, 5 years from now?
Right. Well, maybe
bigger,
3 or 5 years. So yeah, it gets bigger, it gets smaller. I think this is the perfect size because it beams in a larger than average size person. Maybe the shape is a little bit different. And of course, we'll continue to keep it as modern as we can. I'd love to show you really fast. Can I just do a quick live beam?
Absolutely. Yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
So just really, really fast, super fast demo.
That's great. Nothing like an impromptu live demo.
Yep.
That was spectacular.
So there you have it.
I don't want to go any further because you crescendoed at the right time, right point. Obviously, you can tell how much fun we had. I had. Hopefully, you did as well. This is the beginning of a long journey with us. Hopefully, we're going to be following you. We're going to have you back on, and rumor has it we're talking about doing some interesting stuff with you, which I'm not going to disclose just yet. But thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy day and not just talking about the future, but showing it.
Have me back. Next time we'll do this via Portal.
You got it. Thank you so much, David. Have a wonderful day. Good weekend.
Thanks a lot. You too. Bye.
Well. All right, boy. Technology, the ideas, the innovation speaks for itself. Let's get Howard in here and get his opinion before he does the news. What do you think?
Oh, amazing. I mean, David is truly the Wizard of Photons.
Wizard of Oz, right? I mean, it's literally the new Wizard of Oz.
That is a tough act to follow.
It is.
Amazing. I've been on the edge. I've been following HoloPortation for years, ever since we started out in 2001. And this smooths over just about all the flaws that we've been seeing, in the development of the technology. It's
and he said it's the first inning, so he realizes iterations of failure and the tweaks and the feedback from the clients. I mean, God bless, in 12, 24 months, this thing's going to be even crazier, which I don't, just looking at it, it's spectacular already. It's going to be fun to watch the evolution of this one.
No, I think he's cracked the code. Yeah.
Let me get out of your way, do the news, and I'll see you on the other side.
All right. Thanks, Jim. So on to the news. I'm just going to highlight a couple of the articles from our weekly news briefing that we put out every Thursday morning. So our lead article is from Jim McHale. He's the CEO of Memori out of Stockholm. And it wasn't long ago that WeWork was a regular feature in the news, but took a backseat to the pandemic. Early 2020, Sandeep Mathrani, former Brookfield retail CEO, they brought him in to turn the ship around after all the nuttiness around former CEO Adam Neumann. This was in the build-up to the firm's failed IPO. The company literally went from zero to 47 billion and back down to zero valuation in just a few years. 2 years ago, the value of WeWork was nil, and it was on the verge of bankruptcy. But SoftBank had invested way too much to let WeWork fail. So back in early 2020, Mathrani took over and capitalized on the disruption of the office market, brought the valuation back to the 9 billion range. So in this article, and there's a lot more here, Jim goes further into the subsequent M&A activity that has WeWork looking a lot more like a software services company now than a commercial real estate company. It's an exceptional article. Thank you, Jim McHale. Thanks, Memoria, for a great read. Also, we have a good thought piece on blockchain and the real estate transaction process. So when we first started talking about applying blockchain to real estate, maybe back in 2016, one of the vaunted benefits was that eventually we could do away with a much unloved title search process. Since then, there have been sporadic blockchain pilot programs at the county recorder level in places like Clark County, Illinois, South Burlington, Vermont. Intellectually, it makes perfect sense that a decentralized, tamper-proof, auditable digital ledger could potentially replace the traditional manual title search process. And in this article, they take a look at some of the deeper issues involved in using blockchain to determine chain of ownership. And they suggest that it might be some time until we actually see it replace traditional title searches. Very interesting read. Moving along, can 5G help reduce carbon emissions in the US? So in a recent study by Accenture and commissioned by CTIA Wireless, they found that compared with 4G networks, 5G can deliver 100 times higher bandwidth, hence can support a much greater number of connected devices. And as a commercial property owners, decarbonizing is really contingent on the ability to measure, monitor, control everything from construction processes to mechanical systems to environmental controls in buildings. And that requires a lot of sensors, wireless networks, cloud connectivity, and increasing quantities of bandwidth. The study suggests that 5G is 90% more energy efficient than 4G LTE, and users could potentially reduce 20% of the country's carbon emissions by 2025. Transportation in cities, they'd be the main beneficiaries to reducing almost 86 million metric tons of carbon dioxide, but buildings reported to contribute 40% of the total carbon emissions would also be a prime beneficiary of the reductions. Again, interesting read. Finally, just a quick announcement. Christian Walker will now be the new global head of sustainable operations at JLL, where he's going to lead the Energy and Sustainability Services ESS organization, managing JLL's portfolio-wide sustainability programs. His team's going to be working with clients to leverage JLL's operational teams to optimize energy use and minimize their carbon footprint. Christian most recently served as global head of energy services for the past 10 years with Siemens Building and Technologies and Smart Infrastructure. Congratulations, Christian. And with that, time's up. That's it for me today. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Howard, it's funny as I listen to you do the news, the back end of the real estate enterprise, the middle and the front end of the building, every aspect of our industry is now getting pummeled with new innovative ideas. And I really can't imagine a real estate owner operator that's not paying attention. How do they compete in a couple of years? These buildings are these portfolios are definitely changing.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a big gap between those that are innovating and adopting and planning now, and those that are that are going to remain laggards. And
Well, and what's really interesting is, as I mentioned on the onset, was that we've seen teleportation 21 years ago, right? But it doesn't make it the first time when it's in that hype cycle, right? And so a lot of the technologies that we're seeing make it now are actually iterations of things we've seen years ago, but it takes that long. I think this time is real. I think this time it sticks. And to your point, if you don't embrace, you're going to be left behind. And I know I've said that a lot, but
I do too. I do. I mean, we have to spend time. We have to apply focus to kind of figuring out what potentially, in terms of technology, could change the way we use buildings and better serve our clients and our businesses. So there has to be an investment, in that concentrated
thoughtful discussion strategy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And those that are doing it I absolutely believe will be changing I
think real estate's on the cusp of changing dramatically. I think COVID was a little bit of a gasoline on a fire, woke everybody up to the possibilities of things like we're doing right now and Teams and Zoom. But I think the cat is out of the bag, and I don't think we ever go back. Ever.
Well, just following up on your article, last week on the convergence of these 6 paradigms, that is one. And the technology piece of it, we thought we saw escalation, when we had a little bit more bandwidth, more people were using laptops, we had faster modems and things like that. What we're seeing now is light years ahead and logarithmically fast.
And I'm coining a new phrase. In fact, I think I'm going to be writing an article on it called the Great Reconfiguration, meaning the space that we built for the last 50 years, 75 years, office, industrial, retail, multi-family, mixed use, that was designed to get in an automobile and go to some place to do something. I think a lot of those uses, just like, barns and factories became obsolete at some point. I think you're going to see an extraordinary amount of real estate have to be repositioned, restructured, re-engineered, reimagined, because in its current use, cube farms, retail stores with lots of inventory, but not the size I need. I think this is the beginning of what I'm going to call the Great Reconfiguration of the real estate.
Sounds like an interesting theme for a conference, don't you think?
Maybe. Hold that thought. Howard, great job as always. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. Before we wrap, let's hear from our final sponsor, and I'll be right back with an exciting show next week as well.
Offices, stores, and restaurants require cost-effective solutions for workplace safety monitoring. Rigado provides easy-to-deploy sensor networks designed specifically for these commercial spaces. Our wireless sensors are plug-and-play for quick installation, and our edge computing gateways are pre-configured to deliver data directly to your enterprise applications, making it easy to start tracking workplace safety, occupancy, cleaning activity, and more. If your team is looking for the fastest path to pilot, our integrated kits for Azure IoT offer out-of-the-box monitoring with a wide range of sensor options. Find out more at rigado.com.
All right, that's it for today's show. Thank you to David. Phenomenal portal conversation, demonstration, off the cuff, crazy. Thank you to our sponsors, and thanks to our team for putting this all together. Next week, we're going to continue the conversation. Peter Miskovich, Managing Director, Strategy Innovation at JLL. Peter and I go back 25, maybe even more years. And so it's going to be excited to get back together with him. I've seen him over the years, but to reconnect. Nobody been in this industry longer and doing innovation longer than Peter. And the topic, the intelligent, experiential, and competitive workplace. We're continuing the theme, and it's going to be a great conversation, and hope you join us. Tell your friends, and we will see you next week. Have a great weekend. Be well.